Here is why it's kind of important to make happiness and love your main priority. If you are suffering from any type of um, global experience that ain't too pleasant, if you are the victim of something, you are not going to be happy. And so, anybody making the suggestion that it's time for you to get happy is not going to be a friend of yours. You're not going to be attracted to my videos. You want to line yourself up with people that want to fight and we've protest and send letters and sue and um, we got to do something. Go to war, go to battle, civil war. Um, Been there, done that, and found out that that was no solution at all. But I also know there were other people that were told me just be the love. Now, they never really offered any other solution other than just being the love and meditation. And if it's one thing that really, really pisses me off are people that just say, oh, just meditate and just be the love. They irritate the hell out of me because they don't know what to do with it when they get there, making it, you're just blocking out all of the problems and not solving anything. You're just so focused on everything that's good, you ain't actually solving all of the shit that's bad. So, all of the motivational speakers that all motivate you to do everything that, gets you your stuff, gets you making more money, making you have a happier life. Deepak Chopra, Wayne Dyer, uh, um, Tony Robbins, some of the best motivational speakers are guiding you down the new age, be the peace, be the love, and Deepak Chopra said it best when he starts saying, then you die, accept death. And he wrote a book on how you accept death, writes a book on ageless body, ageless mind, but he's how young and is now ready to die. And it's almost like this guy meditates too much, uh, comes up with this concept that if we actually solved every problem known to the human experience, then we would be mummified mummies not moving anywhere. That the only way we evolve is through solving problems. So there's no motivation to actually solve problems. He has accepted that there needs to be problems in the world. And this is your motivational speaker. So we have a subconscious awareness of what we're doing, but we're not consciously aware that we're creating our reality. That if you just want to believe you're mummified mummies because you've meditated so far deep down one thought that, and you can't get yourself out of that thought. You can't see, oh, life could be something completely different other than that. And you'll be making so much money and knowing your shit so much that your story that you tell yourself is true about all of reality is more true than anybody else's story. When in fact, um, we're creating our reality. We are creating our perceptions. We are creators. We can create any damn story we want to. It's only the smartest minds that can manipulate our environment and our communication, our programming. It's the best manipulators that know what you want to hear and guide you down the path of 90% of what you want, and it's going to be 10% take advantage of you. So the reason, though, you want to be happy, that you want to get yourself feeling really calm and peaceful, is you have a left and right brain mind processing. Left brain is going to be all of the same rules that it's like computer programming, that it has all these if statements and rules They're like a business that has a pile of business rules. When somebody makes this complaint, give them this offer. It's all prearranged programming that you are so friggin' predictable based on your left brain thinking. If I know what all of your beliefs are, I know how you're going to react to all of your belief systems. Um, so when you come up with a global problem or your own personal problem in your life, you're going to have an experience that you don't know how to solve, so you're going to only know how to react to that problem in a non-solving it way. Usually run away, usually bitch and complain about it, usually be in a lot of pain from it. But you've never experienced the solution. I have one metaphor that I've used all my life, that life is nothing like a baseball machine where these balls come at you, and they'll come at you real fast and real hard, and you're batting at them, and the balls represent problems. And life is not nothing more than being able to hit that ball, solve that problem as it's coming. And the faster you can get at it, the more evolved you get. So it is more, as soon as you're experiencing an event, it's how fast can you recognize your response that doesn't work, and to change your superposition in the events that you're experiencing, because you're going to replay the same thing over and over and over again, and you're setting up life rules. I have a life rule of not like a mail. I won't read mail. If you've got something to say to me, write, talk to me in person, but there's too much junk mail and there's usually only bills that I can't pay. And there's always usually information that I can't solve. It only stresses me out. So why bother opening it? I live my life as simple as possible, so very few people even have a need to contact me. But I try to restrict my life to receive information the way I want to receive it. So it's a life rule now that if I even go and look at mail, my heart starts pounding and I get real stressful. And I know right away that whatever it is I'm looking at, I can see something a lot worse than what it is. And I know that about myself. I've programmed myself to be that way. It's one of my weird psychology things going right now that I have to really ask myself, is that real or not? And until I get in a position where, hey, I can trust the universe. Like, I can trust that if I get a problem, I'm going to know all of the rules that can help solve that problem. But unfortunately, right now, I know the way the system works, that if there's an impossible, corporation that wants to do something to you, they're going to suck you in their hole of taking up your whole life solving their friggin' problem. So um, I choose to just live my life where nobody can contact me. They have no reason to contact me. I don't check any mail. It's my life. If you want to contact me, phone me. And so far, that works real well. Nobody bugs me, and I don't bug anybody else. Um, Even now that the computer's breaking down, it's harder to get in contact with me. Um, but and that is what was needed for me to gain a calmness in my life, because there was so much shit that I couldn't solve out there, because there is how can you stop Japan and all that nuclear waste? They're global shit that's bigger than you, that you can't solve yourself. You kind of need friends, you kind of need a community to get on board of something. And so you have to create like-minded people that can actually get in a room and have a conversation that's really out of this world, and everybody's open-minded and not angry, and having that peaceful conversation and having some out-of-the-box concepts. Now, when you have an out-of-the-box, here's a new idea, it's not going to be acceptable that easy. So that's part of the problem that I've dealt with is I get frustrated when, somebody disagrees with me, or calls you names, or um, and people don't realize that they do that. But as soon as you go out of the box and you make a suggestion that is completely impossible to them, they just think you're nuts. And yet that's where we need to go, is we need to go into a completely different mindset that would work, would give everybody everything they want. But it turns out that if you actually offer people what they really, really want, they're rejecting it for some reason. For some reason, all of us are doing that. It's it's like religious people want eternal life, and yet the only path that they can get eternal life is through death. And it's like, okay, here's a wild idea. Why is humanity dying? That if we actually were able to create heaven on earth, like we're able to have the power to create hell on earth, and we all apparently are dying because of our sinning, basically. We don't know the difference between right and wrong. Um, and you believe in that your sinning makes no big deal because you're going to be saved and get that eternal after death. It's like your religion is accepting you to be a failure and be good at it. You're going to be saved as long as you look at yourself as a loving person as you're sinning on into your world. Like religion has screwed our minds up into out of the box thinking that, Jesus, God shows up when we show up. If we are creators and we can create hell, we have the power to create heaven. And what does heaven friggin' look like? I mean, in a magical world, open up your mind. You kind of have to be a little happy. You kind of have to be in a good mind, a peaceful mind, to just sort of even imagine what would that look like. If you're really, really angry, you're going to be in left brain thinking and think that's impossible. Uh, Not worth the time. Like you will come up with some reasoning why world peace is impossible. And but those are only limited beliefs. And where did you get your limited belief? And isn't every idea just missing information? That if some person had a vision that it's possible, then wouldn't it mean that in order for them to have that much conviction that it's possible means they can see a global perspective. They can see all of the requirements that would make it happen. And part of all of that means everybody's got to be happy. If you were in heaven, what are your requirements? First of all, you have to be happy about your life. If some that meditate think that if you overcome every problem, you'd be a mummified mummy, well, you start asking the universe about why is enjoying life something that constantly moves you to grow and experience life and have life exciting, and you're learning new things and growing. Why does that have to be a negative experience to you? And lead in death. Like can't there be a lifelong experience of that? I mean, you don't even have to believe in that concept to be true, but if you viewed your perspective from this, everybody says life is short, make the best out of it, that is making you detached from your capabilities of actually living longer. Because if you actually loved life, you wouldn't want to die. But as long as you're not enjoying your life, then death is not, it's an easy thing. I can get away with it. I can program you to your own death and you won't mind it so much because life ain't worth living. But if you viewed life from, okay, life is eternal, how tied are you going to be to the air that you breathe? Um, the food that you eat. How does life change if you view it from the perspective only? Don't even believe it's true. Just view it with an open mind perspective and say, what would it take? What would I look like? What would I be doing in a world that everybody is calling heaven? I mean, everybody that's there is calling it heaven. So everybody's talking about the same thing. What does it look like? What does it feel like? Just imagine it in a magical world. Peace out.